Congratulations on winning BW Healthcare 40 Under 40 awards. Ma'am, could you please briefly tell us about your journey?
Sure. Thank you so much, Samba, for your wishes. When you're asking about my journey as a psychologist and as a psycho-oncologist, it has been I would say, a bit long and traumatic, I would say, because of the stigma attached to the field. The stigma which is attached to the psychology per se, which is like, are we mad that we have to meet a psychologist? Post-COVID, yes, the stigma has been, I would say, diluted a bit, but still there is a bit of stigma attached to the field that we are not mental health issues, we don't have them, thus we do not need it. Though, as per me, every individual who's living has stress, right? And when it goes unacknowledged, it turns out into the psychological issues later in the life. So acknowledging the fact that you have issues has been the toughest part, by putting a lot of efforts into spreading awareness, by putting a lot of efforts into letting people acknowledge the fact that yes, as much as the physical health is of importance, your mental health holds the equal importance. I have played a lot of role into that, so that the field is not at all still stay with stigma attached to the field. People will come up with the issues which are related to their own mental health as well. They are not only discussing about their physical health but also about their mental health. That has been a long journey with which I have come up with since 2017. I am here in this Rajiv Gandhi Cancer Institute, where it was just a department where nothing and much of the psychological concerns were addressed, but now yes, the clinicians themselves have been addressing them. In the field, I have been in the field since, I would say, almost around 15 long years, and yes, from, I would say, the stepping stone to where I have reached now has been a long journey.
Thank you so much, ma'am. With the increasing recognition of the psychological impact of cancer, how is your department integrating mental health support into cancer patients?
That's the most important thing which we are doing currently. So a patient who is even without having the diagnosis but is entering into the cancer institute is facing the trauma, that why am I entering into the cancer institute, why cancer, why not anywhere else? So people actually have that fear of getting cancer even when they are passing from the place which has that name called cancer. So the person fears that, stigmatize the field, and my department has been playing role to let them first acknowledge the fact that even when you are entering the cancer institute, you are not catching them. We are also human, the cancer patients are also human. Cancer does not spread by touching, by sitting, by talking, by eating together. It does not spread that way. We acknowledge the fact that it is a disease which is inside the body, which impacts one part or one organ of the body, and disease is in the patient and patient is not diseased. So by acknowledging the fact, I have played a major role in integrating this department with surgical oncology, with medical oncology, with radiation oncology, and even while the patient has to get their testings done. So for example, there is a very small myth attached to biopsies, that if we get the FNH or biopsy done, it will spread through to the body. So the patients deny to get the testings done. The patients deny to get the surgery done. The patients have a lot of fears attached to chemotherapies. They consider it is a poison of some snake or crocodile or some reptile. So they fear the side effects. Few women who love their hair, because there is a myth attached to the chemotherapy that there will be hair loss. They consider that it is certain it would be there. But with the development in the medicine, we have new technologies, we have new medicines which are available, which have a lot of side effects, but they are bare minimum if patient also put in effort. So I'll and my department let the patient understand first what is cancer. According to me, I have developed this new, I would say, definition of cancer, that cancer can be cured if treated with effective treatment on time. If it is not even cured, it can be certainly controlled. So for which it is not only the doctor who have to make an effort for you, but also for the equal efforts has to be done by the patient. So when I am coming as a patient, I have an equal responsibility towards myself to help myself, to let the let my doctor help me by giving the best treatment, by utilizing the treatment in the most efficient manner, by putting my own efforts towards my safety, towards my sanity, towards making myself more confident about my treatment, by motivating them, by letting them involve into n number of activities which they now consider that they won't be able to. Because in this, with the disease called cancer, patient first consider cancer is equals to death, which is not now. Yes, even if I would have been in 1970s or 80s, maybe I would have considered the same. But with the development in medicine, we let the patient understand that cancer is not equals to death. Every cancer is not equals to death. Even certain cancer, when are diagnosed at advanced stages also, we have good level of treatment for them. The patient can have a better prognosis, can choose from quality and quantity of life. What decision has to be done, at what time the decision should be taken up. When the patient has to choose between quantity and quality, what should they prefer, why should they prefer them. So I have been putting in effort to counsel a patient at the very first step when they are entering, to handle the anxiety, to handle their fears at the time of diagnosis. Once the diagnosis is done, the trauma sticks in. So to handle the depression and depressive phases, then when they have to go for the, let's say, some amputation or for the women breast surgeries, then they consider that they will be incomplete. To let them have that resilient behavior and resilient attitude towards themselves, my team has been helping them for the chemotherapy, medical treatments, for let's say chemotherapy, immunotherapy, hormone therapy, letting them understand what the disease is about, why they have to go for these line of treatments, what will be the impact of these line of treatments on them, on their health, and how they can get the best benefit out of them. Then we also cater to the end of life care, where the patient and the attendants, we do not only focus on patients, but we also focus on the caregivers, which is an important part in the journey of cancer for the cancer patient. Because it is not only about patient who is suffering, but it is also about caregivers who are going through each and every phase in a more traumatic manner than a patient can. Because they have all the knowledge, they have all the information from the clinicians, they have all the knowledge about finances, about the society, which they are hiding from the patients. So there is a lot of caregiver burden. They are hiding a lot of things in Indian perspective, I would say. So to handle the caregiver burden also, we have been dealing with that. Then palliative care. In the palliative care, when the patient has chosen and the attendants have chosen for the quality of life, but still, because the quality also suffers because of the disease as a background, how they can deal with the stress of that, how they can deal with the burnout phases of their, in that particular scenarios, how they can cope up in a better manner. We have been training them. Then we have also been counseling the attendants and the caregivers of the person who have been bereaved. Right? Post bereavement sessions, we are also taking them in, because as I said, not only the patients but the caregivers holds as much as importance as a patient does. So for clinicians and for us as psychologists, we try to treat patient in a very holistic manner.
And one more thing I would like to ask you, ma'am, is very recently GST has been exempted from the 3 cancer medicines. What else as an oncologist you expect from the government so that cancer care can be made affordable for middle income groups?
So a few things that for example, for the patients who are getting some amputations done, post surgery patients, for the women who are getting let's say MRM done, mastectomy is done, so some support for them, right? Another thing is some support on the basis of the therapies which we have, which are really expensive and middle income group cannot actually have them. For example, we do have schemes, for example, like we have Pradhan Mantri Yojana, we have some CM Yojana, right? In the same manner, if we can have some schemes for middle income group, because these are usually given to below the poverty line people. But for someone who is coming from the middle income group and who do not satisfy the criteria of below poverty line, so they are not eligible to apply everywhere, if some criteria can be made for them so that they can also apply in some schemes where they can fetch out some financial support for themselves. Some schemes can be made up for providing some help for the radiation treatment as well. And the best part would be if they can also get the right kind of knowledge that what is to be done, how it is to be done, and if streamlining can be done for them, it would be beneficial for them.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.